Usually people cough after they smoke, but me, no. I'm gonna choke on my own saliva and die. Alone. In my pajamas. Bit of smoke courage. Hey guys. So my last video was a planner get ready for the month kind of thing, setup. And I set up to record and I couldn't make myself talk. And I was like, that's okay. I can always do a voiceover. And then I sat with the video and then I was like, I have nothing to say. So I just put the video out because it's one of those videos that gets old. And then it's kind of like, you know, not worth putting up anymore. But I feel a little bit stronger now today. So I figured let's sit and talk about real life, real struggles, what I've been kind of sitting with, and also how those feelings have translated into my work. And by work, I mean my journals, my art, my creating. Hi, I'm Anna, in case it's your first time here. And if it's not, then thanks for spending your time with me, because I know time is precious. You could literally be doing anything with anyone, and you chose to spend time with me. So I full-heartedly appreciate that. I spend a lot of time in my journals because I like spending time by myself. But this season, and I feel like the season has, you know, seasons of life don't really have a period of your life, you know, it's an epoch. It's not, you're not meant to know while you're going through it how long it's going to go. It's going to last. Jesus. But there is this saying in Spanish, no hay mal que dure 100 años ni cuerpo que lo resista. There is no bad that can last 100 years or a physical body that can, you know, withstand that. So, meaning that this too shall pass. Everything is season, and I have to remember that this too will end, and that the most important part is keeping myself in the moment, keeping myself present, reminding myself that there's good in every moment. There's things to always be grateful for. So for the past 3 years, I have been, well, first we went through a separation and then the kids and I have lived alone for the last 3 years, and that's delightful. No shade, but you kind of come to realize, or I came to realize, that I had been a married single mom for my kids' entire lives. You know what I mean? So there was no great unbalance in our family dynamic, in our routine, in our home schedule, in the way we do things, the way we cook things or eat things. There has been, as the girls get older, it's much more cooperative. It's, you know, I delegate responsibilities, chores, and they do them in order to, you know, get rewarded. And by rewarded, my kids are bookworms. So in order to keep their e-readers, when I've had to ground my kids, it's mostly been, okay, you have to give up your favorite book. and you can't have it for a week, you know. They don't use a whole lot of technology. So we do, however, watch a lot of TV and enjoy our snacks. So that's life. And so for me, the biggest issue after the separation or during the separation was balancing my financials. They teach you a lot of shit in school, but they definitely don't teach you how to balance your checkbook. They don't teach you how to keep your money separate. They don't teach you how to do your taxes. They don't teach you how to, you have to like learn all these things as an adult. And then if you're, you know, lucky like me to have found love right after college, then you grow up as a team, you know, as you grow up with somebody else, kind of like learning things, how to do taxes, how to get your oil changed, da 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 da. But once you're no longer part of that team, or once you're the captain of a new team, you know, like I went from not only being responsible for myself, but being responsible for 2 other people. And so that was, it's been hard. It's been a lot. And I've been very lucky that I've found many angels along the way. Or sometimes I've also referred to these helping, guiding hands that have, you know, come into my life as crows. Because crows are actually really intelligent birds. Most birds are really intelligent. Have you heard a gray parrot? Anyways, the thing with crows is that they will find rocks to push the water out of a container in order to reach it, you know, to help it reach the surface. And so a small lesson like that is, you know, being grateful that there are people that come into my life and have helped me during different stages and help me fill out paperwork, help me find a program, help me find you know, a resource, help me find stuff. So we started out with my word of the year for 2025 is ease. I don't recall really how it came to me, but it came to me really easy. No pun intended. And it so I keep reminding myself that I want to live in this ease. I want to live in this peace. I want to find this quiet routine, this, you know, where everything is kind of on a routine, you know, that you can, you know what to expect. So those, you know, that is the result of all this thinking, of all this frustration, of all this overwhelm, of all of this time napping or consuming content or whatever, which leads us to the whole point of this video, which are my abandoned project journals. And so I can't just show up and tell you, hey, this is a stack of projects that I haven't touched since I last shown them to you and since I started them, but I love them. I can't wait to continue them. I just don't have the creative spark to work in them right now. That doesn't mean that I don't have creative spark to work in other things and to create other projects. In fact, I'm experiencing a new wave of a new flow of creativity, and so you'll see a whole bunch of new YouTube videos coming out, you know, because I'm all of a sudden inspired to have these conversations, or I am able to have conversations now. The sound of my own voice doesn't bother me as much as it did last month. I'm just in a more grounded state of mind. Time has passed, time has healed. Also, again, giving myself grace, reminding myself that I don't have control over a lot of the things that I'm waiting for. And so there's no point in overthinking it, in worrying, and just getting full of anxiety over things that have not happened yet. So, again, coming back to the present, staying here, I am grateful for, like, these are just like, this is my thought process. This is how I bring myself back whenever I catch myself floating away. And again, just consuming a lot of content and TV in general. So let's get to these projects. I don't know where to start. There's no right place to start, but I've shown you the journals that I am currently in. And so just in case you're new here, there's the planner. There's the B6 Book of Shadows, my art magic, my morning pages. Oh, and this little guy. This is also active. This is my junk journal. This is where I put all of my garbage ephemera. Okay. Oh, and then I also have one more that is, that is active, which is this composition notebook, which is where I'm keeping notes for my tarot Disney tie-in. And I've got my little course journal, because I write all the notes for like the how to, like all my notes in here, and then in here I'll actually do the workshop with you. So that's active right now. I think that's all for active. And then I have this little junk journal that Shanice made for me. It's made out of paper bag and then composition notebook paper. And then she stitched it and decorated it. And so in here I've been just keeping like a notepad. Like instead of using Post-its, which I love Post-its, but instead of using Post-its, I'm just keeping stuff in there. So it's messy and it's crazy. We need to get the cart, because that is where, or you know what? Should we get the cart or should we just move to the cart? Maybe we should just move to the cart. That is where I keep them out next to my desk, because I figure this is where I keep the stack of stuff that I'm using. The other part of the desk is usually where I actively, do stuff and keep my iPad. But I keep the journals there because they're an easy grab. Or maybe it's because they're an easy dump. You know what I mean? I just put them there and then I just don't grab them again. But let's move the cart. Only because I want to keep the device plugged in. So welcome to my cart. I've shown this cart before. It has 3 shelves, and on the very bottom I keep my socks, like my fuzzy warm socks, because my feet get cold. And I also have some acrylic paint. My acrylic paint is from my Take 5 days, which was back in 2019, and some of my paints have gotten old and need to be checked out. And so I might actually have to do a video of like, I let it get old and now I have to get rid of it. All right, let's go. So these are journals that are in one way or another, some kind of progress. So this is a super personal, quiet project that I've had for years. I've been obsessed with this artist since 2018, it says. She started out as Blush and May, and now she changed her name, and I think she's barely on YouTube or anything anymore. She recently had a baby, but Blush and May. And so I would follow along and redraw her stuff because it's in a very different style than mine. She likes this bunny and bear story that she follows, and it's just very philosophical and inspirational and affirmative. And anyways, I just fell in love with her style. So this is where I kind of follow along with her style. So not for public consumption. I've actually never talked about this except with a handful of friends that know about it, but again, I've never shared pages from inside. Okay, next. In here, I have this leatherette cover from, I want to say Staples. I've put some Jane Davenport papers on the front covers because I love them and it's very inviting. And then in here, I have actually housed a couple of signatures, and one of the signatures is actually my summer fling composition notebook, which I have the cover for in here. If you need to remember, this was my summer fling of 2022. This project came about during my separation. I was doing so much art and so much stuff, and then all of a sudden my creativity just, but it didn't die, it just evolved. And I went from needing my watercolors every day to this composition notebook, no pressure, real life, just me and the kids, what we were doing, our YOLO moments. And then it was like, Mom, are we doing life to do it, or are we doing life just so you can journal about it? And it was like, it doesn't fucking matter, because the point is that it's a win-win either way. So that's my summer composition notebook. And then having some real thoughts about starting a new one, because we are kind of starting a new chapter. We're just waiting for it to start. It's so annoying. Anyways, and then here the next, so the first is the summer fling, and then the next one is a couple of pages from a junk journal, omni journal, composition notebook thing that I was really excited for, where I was putting like all my junk ephemera, but also like, you know, going back to that whole summer fling where I'm drawing the kids in and like stuff that we were doing. I just don't have the kind of ephemera I used to get, you know what I mean? Like the stuff that we buy, or how we buy, our shopping habits have somehow changed. Number one, because we grocery shop as opposed to when we didn't have a refrigerator and we had different kind of space. So, you know, the food was different, the availability of what we could have was different. And then now, what's the other thing? Without a car, we don't do as much shopping or driving out to stores. So, you know, when I get a box from Amazon, there may be like one sticker, as opposed to like when we would go to Walmart, they would be like stickers on it, like the clothes and stickers, you know, whatever. Anyways, just different stages of life have given me different things. So where I was able to once keep a standard traveler's notebook full of junk, full of like that sticky like journal junk, I can't do that anymore. You know, I'm having trouble to like do that. So that's just been sitting there. Next, I've got the notebook that I've designated for the Artist Way. It's super cute. Look at all my tabs in rainbow order. I started this a couple years ago when I first learned about the Artist Way. I got a couple chapters in, and then I had like a spark of creativity, and then I ended up publishing my book, which then led me to publish my affirmation decks. So that project fell in there, and then the book kind of just fell away, and so did the journal, obviously. But I recently wanted to start the Artist Way, and my biggest struggle the first time around wasn't getting through the coursework, wasn't getting through the book, funny enough. It was getting used to the morning pages as this homework that I had to do. And so this time around, I planned for it, and I was just like, okay, first of all, I know that I have to deal with these 3 pages of daily journaling, so let me just get used to it somehow. And also let me beat the system by choosing the smallest journal I can. So I have a little A6 for it. And then the kids happened to gift me that spiral chunky journal from the Dollar Tree with a sun on it, which is so just perfect for morning pages. And here I was designing one in my own journal. So if you go to my website, you'll see in my journal designs, I have a journal that I designed specifically for morning pages, which is based on this painting right here, which is very just morning and happy, and like, you know, you want to greet the sun and you want to be happy about the bright new day. Anyways, that kind of vibe. So Artist Way, still waiting to be, you know, dealt with. Next, I got myself this sketchbook. My favorite, yeah, I mean, I have a couple of favorites, but Strathmore Mixed Media is one of my favorites for watercolor and mixed media, obviously. But I got this with the intention of one thing, and then when I got it, I needed a place to put my my reading paint drawings, the ones that I do for clients when they ask for a tarot reading with art. So I needed a professional place for it. I couldn't just have like all these pages floating around, which I did the first couple, just random pages. So then I took this and I found ways to tip those pages in, and then this is where I've been creating those keepsakes for clients. So this is very specific. When I got it originally, I just remembered, when I got it originally, I was going to be drawing my tarot cards in here, like my it's like a Santa Muerte bone and skull kind of vibe, kind of fan art. I didn't agree with one of the Santa Muerte tarot cards when I was, you know, working through it. I didn't like the depiction, and so I went on a whole rant on why that just wasn't working for me, and then I redrew it, and then that sort of kicked off this idea that I would just kind of do that. So I have done now five or six, and I actually have the footage of the, I did 3 in a batch, probably like a month ago already. And I have the video, which needs editing and a voiceover, so I might do that soon. What else do I have in here? I have these are my colorways. I have one for my Tombow markers, which I laminated. And then I have one for my Prisma color pencils. This makes life a lot easier. This is embarrassing. I have my tarot tome. So I created the tarot tome. It's tarot tome. I watercolored these sakura flowers. These are also on my washi tape. So I designed the tarot tome. This is a B6. It's lightly dotted on the inside, and it also features all 78 cards of the tarot. This is a self-guided, you know, journal. Like you go in and you fill out your own thoughts. I've only gone through like the first page. How many did I do? No, I did the first two. And then I went through the entire 78 and put the titles in the colors of their elements, which that's one of my favorite things to do, is make sure that. And then in the back, I used my pages to list the decks that I own, and in the order that I've gotten them. So tarot tome. I mean, it's not like I don't work with tarot. It's just that right now I'm doing the 78 Deep with Leanne Line, which is a study of every single card every day. You know, you're looking at the card through an introspective lens. So that's a commitment. You know, that's a 2.5 month commitment. So, you know, I wanted to do this and that at the same time. But again, life is overwhelming. And so I let go of all of the excess stuff and just stuck to, let's just do the 78 Deep, you know, and just like get through this one thing and then we'll process that. What else do I have? Oh, I have a little sketchbook that I made myself, with some Happy Planner discs. And again, this is Strathmore mixed media paper that either comes from like the pads. Sometimes I have like the pads of paper, or sometimes, you know, I have the sketchbooks that I've torn pages out, so I have like, you know, pages to do stuff with. So anyways, this is an odd shape, but I kind of wanted to work in this panoramic. So this is a little sketchbook. I call this my little like couch sketchbook, because I'll take this over with like 1 or 2 color pencils to the couch, and I'll doodle while we watch TV. It doesn't always happen, but you know, sometimes. So that's in there. It's been abandoned for some time. 2 more. Actually, this is not abandoned. This is not abandoned at all. This is active. It's just a seasonal thing, and I don't want to keep it on my desk. I prefer to keep it in here. But this is actually a very, very happy journal, and I happen to have just rehomed this project because it used to live in a bound cork covered journal from IKEA. The paper didn't matter because what I've been doing is I'm going to tell you right now that my besties are better than yours. No doubt about it, okay? My friends and I send each other these, I think it's not monthly. It might be bi-month, like every 2 months. It's seasonal. It's seasonal. I think we send each other for a year. Anyways, whatever. Shanice, Leanne, and I, not only do we do the video together for the season. Why can't I remember what it's called? Everything is art. Everything is art. Everything is art. Yes, hashtag everything is art. So we put out that seasonal prompt and video, right? But behind the scenes, we're friends. Like, we're friends. We met each other through Take 5 back in like 2019. And then through our through creativity, through magic, through inspiration, through life. We've remained friends, and I mean, let me tell you about my besties. So this is a Strathmore sketchbook. Obviously it's on this coil. I got this, I don't remember why I got it, but I was using it as a grimoire. Different from my Book of Shadows, a grimoire is a place where it's more legacy based, more like our recipes, our traditions, our holiday traditions, stuff we do with the kids that, you know, our way of doing life, our magic. We also go out for the full moon and the new moon, and we do little rituals. We practice our own brand of elemental magic, and I want to write that in a grimoire as my legacy. However, this had become an abandoned journal, and so meanwhile, the other journal, the bound one from IKEA, was starting to get a little too overwhelmed with what I was putting in there. And so I rehomed it. And so here goes for the first time. I haven't even asked them if it's okay to share, but I'm sure they'll be fine. Here are our zines. So Shanice will send me a zine. We each send, all three of us, the zine, right? So Leanne, and this was mine. And mine I've put into these like clear bags. And then I keep the parts of their envelope with, because I mean Shanice will go all out and like decorate the envelopes. And then I love the stamps. This is one for Leanne. And then here's my last one. Shanice, Leanne. And then this is the one I'm currently working on, which is overdue. Because, yeah, because we're always a little bit late. Because real life happens, and we don't judge each other. That's why we're friends. So it's just a way of us catching up with each other, telling each other about like the mundane stuff that happens. One of my favorite zines from Shanice, she was growing butterflies with her kids in her house, and then she taught us everything she knew about butterflies in her zine. It was amazing being able to travel from Maine to Texas with Leanne's zine when she moved. And then I like to think that you know, they love my zines too. So I can hear them both going like, yeah, of course, friend, of course. I've got one more right here. So she's over here in the pile of like the journals that I want to work with. She's just, it hasn't happened yet. And that is after I rehomed that sketchbook, then all the stuff that used to live there needs a home. And so I decided to get myself another B6ology. Number one, it's just a place I'm comfortable with. It's a place that I know the pages. I work well in these journals. My B6 Book of Shadows is coming to an end. I started it last July, and that's been such a beautiful practice. So when I was thinking about what to do with my grimoire, I was just like, you know what? Let's make a little like army of B6ologies and have that be like the witchy journals for now. You know, I don't know, I'll change my mind. Or I mean, you've seen my bookshelf, I go up and down in sizes. So for now, the idea, the hope, the abandoned journal and these are all tabs with topics that, you know, subjects, how to divide this, and you know, I have thoughts, I have ideas. I also have some pages that I pulled out from there because it was abandoned, because it had been started. So now I have to figure out how to tip these pages in, because I actually really, well, some of them are just going to be rewritten, let's be honest. Like nothing special about this. Let's say there's nothing really special about this page in particular. You know, I can just distress the page in the journal and rewrite it. No big whoop. But I'm really proud of these pages, of the herbs. And so these I'll have to figure out how to put them back in there. Yeah, it's not a lot, but it's something that I would like to get into, that I would like to like be called to play with, which is why I keep it here in hopes that it will happen. Let's see. We'll see how it goes. In any case, wish me luck, and let me know in the comments which journal you're rooting for. Like, what do you hope that I do get back into? Which one you think I can just be done with it? You know, just let it go. You know, who are you rooting for? What are your top threes? Do you have any abandoned journals that I've given you some insight to? Are you going through some real life drama that, you know, is keeping you from being creative and showing up? Or are you simply just showing up in a different way, you know? And we are allowed to evolve. We are allowed to, you know, experience great excitement over something, and then eventually just kind of be like, okay, well, I know how to do it, so I can come back to it at any time. But the craving is just not as much. I wish that I craved, that my craving would go along with my output. I really wish that for myself. However, real life, guys, real life. It's a bummer. But I'm not the first, and I'm definitely not going to be the last. And I'm not going to make you wonder anymore, because it's also not that serious. It's stressful, and to me it's that serious, and yeah, whatever. But anyways, going around in circles now. I've said what I had to say, and I hope you enjoyed this. So we'll talk soon, and talk to me. All right, bye guys.